Hi there. So today we're in the kitchen and I'm going to be making a apple pie and also dehydrating some apples. The other day we kind of had a bit of a last minute apple picking party with some of my family members at my sister-in-law's grandparents' house. They have a little bit of an apple orchard where they grow Macintosh apples, Honeycrisp, Red Delicious, and then I believe she said there was another one called Spry. I could be getting that wrong. We didn't pick any of those weren't ready yet, but we did pick the other three. And I have a ton more than this. This is just like a handful of them. I was gonna start small and kind of work my way through them all. Anyway, I'm going to be using a pie crust from my grandma, my Nonnie. She was an amazing baker and cook. She won like different awards and she was on her local TV station when she was still with us. She's in some cookbooks and magazines and all kinds of different really cool small town stuff before she passed. And so luckily she passed on some recipes to me that I still have and use. One of them is pie crust and then also an apple pie filling. So the pie crust recipe I have is just for like a single layer crust. So if you want like a bottom layer and a top layer on your pie, then you have to double this recipe. So that's what I'm gonna do today. All right, and really the only 4 ingredients you need is butter, salt, flour, and ice water. Let's get started. We're gonna mix up this pie crust. We'll put it in the refrigerator to kind of cool for an hour. And while we're doing that, we'll mix up our apple pie filling and then also get some apples ready to dehydrate. All right? Let's go. Okay, first I'm gonna put my hair back and wash my hands. I'm gonna preheat the oven to 400. Like I said, I'm gonna double this pie crust. So the recipe calls for 1 1/4 cup of flour. I'm gonna double that, so I'm gonna do 2 1/2. So I just have a 1/2 cup here. And we'll just gather some of this up. There's 1. 2. Fill this thing back up. And 1/2. I usually put the ingredients away when I'm done with it so I remember what I use, but this one I'm going to use a couple of tablespoons for the pie filling, so I'm just going to set this one aside, the flour. And then let's see, we've got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so I'm going to double that, make it a 1/2 teaspoon. I already got a 1/2 teaspoon out here. Just make sure. 1/2 teaspoon, yes ma'am. And then 1/2 cup of butter cubed. I've got 1/2, gonna double it, 2 of them. Open this up and cube it. And then cut it into cubes. Now usually, like in the past, if I'm making a pot pie, like a chicken pot pie or something, I usually put all this in my food processor and mix it up because it's pretty easy that way. However, last year I made a pot pie and I didn't want to get my food processor out because Max was sleeping and I didn't want to wake him up. So I ended up just using like a fork and my fingers, and I actually liked it better that way because I didn't have to clean my food processor and it worked just fine. I'm gonna grab this giant fork here and just start pressing the butter into the flour mixture. Just kind of using the side of the bowl and smushing it all together. And then once we get most of the big chunks smashed together, then I'll start using my fingers. It's a nice little consistency. I'm gonna add just like a tablespoon, about a tablespoon of water at a time. And then keep doing the same thing. Just kind of mix it up a little bit before I stick my fingers in there. I actually really enjoy doing this, and it brings back a lot of memories of helping my Nonnie in the kitchen. As she got older, she developed really bad arthritis, and she couldn't do simple things like even mixing. I remember she made cheesy potatoes quite a bit. That was one of our favorite things that she would make, and she couldn't even mix the potatoes. At one point, she couldn't mix all the ingredients together in the giant bowl, so I always had to mix it for her, and she would tell me exactly what to do. She'd be like, now Jessie, go grab this and mix it up with this, and make sure you put salt and pepper on every layer. And yeah, she was just a lot of fun. Keep adding a little bit more water. And you want it to be kind of crumbly, but kind of not. Like enough where you can grab it and kind of make a ball a little bit, but it also kind of crumbles apart, because then the butter, as it's baking, will melt and form a really nice flaky, yummy crust. And I feel like that's a pretty good consistency. I might add a little bit more water. Make sure I don't get the ice cube in there. All right, we'll just mix this up, and then we'll form it into a ball, or probably a couple of balls. Hey, sorry I couldn't answer. I was making some pie crust, Nonnies pie crust.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I gotta do something with those apples. I've been kind of sick the last couple of days, just like allergy, you know. And so finally I'm doing something with it. But what are you doing?
Working so hard right now.
Yeah, you're working so hard.
So busy, yeah.
So hard
I
that
only
you...
get about half an hour.
I know, you're so busy that you had to have time to FaceTime me, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna. I'm trying to get a hold of Nate, but I was just gonna say, I don't know when they wanted to keep the truck yesterday, so they think it's a warranty, like a sensor they think has went bad in there, which just said it's under warranty, so.
Dang.
Which is, I mean, it's okay, it's bound to, it's under warranty, so it's not like I gotta spend another $500, $600, $700, you know?
It's under warranty for like the transmission that you just got put in, or something else?
Yeah, nothing's like broke. It's...
Well, I left my home down on the rural route. I told my pa that I was stepping out to get the honky-tonk blues. Yeah, the honky-tonk blues. Hey, Lord, I got that honky-tonk blues. Well, I went to a dancing bowl, wrapped my shoes. I woke up this morning wishing I could lose and jump in honky-tonk blues. Yeah, the honky-tonk blues. Well, Lord, I got that honky-tonk blues.
Well, I got to talk to my little brother. That was super fun. Usually he FaceTimes me a couple of times a week, so we get to chat about all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to be using this KitchenAid spiral with peel, core, and slicer. So it comes with a few different attachments, and it's awesome. You literally just attach it to your KitchenAid mixer. You can spiral like zucchini or squash and do it in different sizes. It also cores and peels apples. So I'm going to get this attached and get some apples going. This is the attachment here. undo this little guy. This in and tighten it back up. And then this is what you like shove the apple on and hold it in. Lock it on there. This is the peeler. So the apple kind of rubs up against this and it peels it for you. You put this on the bottom. You just slide it right in there. And then it comes with these 4 attachments. And I just usually use this one because it has the apple on it. So you take this and the apple kind of shoves up against that and then it peels it on that sharp part. Put this on the top and you're good to go. You just put your apple in there, start peeling. Just take an apple, shove it onto here, and take this, shove it into the apple, and then I gotta make sure it's locked and turn it on. And then what I do is I just usually take this off and I'll put this in a different bowl. And then I'll show you what we just did. All the peel went in there. Boy, if my Nonnie was here, she'd be like, Jessie, give me some of that peel. I want to eat it. She would always love to eat the peel of the apple. And then the apple, the cored and peeled and sliced apple goes in here. It's pretty cool. Let's keep going. Take this off. Yummy. Make sure I get all the seeds out of here. And of course you can just chop these up like old school with a knife, but I think it's kind of fun to do it this way. I don't know why, I just think it's kind of fun to watch it. It's really neat to think that somebody came up with this design. Alright, so we'll keep going. We've got 8 apples here. Ready for the next step. So the next step is going to be making the apple pie filling. We got our 8 cored, peeled, and sliced apples here. And I am going to slice them again, just right down the middle. So I'll just take this whole thing and just slice it down the middle so they're smaller chunks. And these are all Honeycrisp apples. My Nonnie said you can use really whatever. Sometimes it's good to use like half and half of something, but I really loved the flavor of the Honeycrisp apples while we were picking them, so I'm gonna put those in there. And then we got some sugar, a little bit of flour to kind of thicken up the consistency there, some cinnamon for a little bit of flavor, and then also I'm gonna take these and kind of slice them. I might even just do them in 4s like that. Fall is not my favorite season, and mainly just because I know what comes after fall, and that is winter. And in Michigan we have really cold, snowy winters, and they last for a really long time. A lot of times it feels like we skip right over spring, so you're waiting for so long for the spring to come, and then it just skips right over. So fall is not usually a fun, happy time for me just because I know it's coming. However, when I get to do stuff like this, it just makes it a lot more fun. So I'm excited to be making an apple pie to kick off the fall season, especially the fact that I picked these apples with my family. It just makes it that much more special. So I'm gonna put these back in the bowl now that they're kind of chopped up to a nice bite size. Now if I was making these with my nanny or my mom, this is how they would have peeled every single apple, like this. And then they would have cut it on their hand. They're like the only people I know that use their hand as a cutting board. They're hardcore. My mom and my nanny. We got our apples all cut up. We're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. I'm gonna start with the sugar. And we need a cup and a fourth. So this is a half cup here. So I'm gonna do a cup and do like a fourth of a cup. So just half of this. All right, so the sugar is all done. I am gonna keep the sugar out because I'm gonna make a little bit of a cinnamon sugar mixture to sprinkle on top of the pie. So we'll keep that out for now. And then 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. All right. And 2 tablespoons of flour. We kept the flour out from the crust. Just stick it in there. So we'll do 1, 2, and then we're gonna mix that all together. And it looks a little bit dry right now, but as the sugar kind of coats the apples, it will almost create its own syrupy juice, I guess. It will just extract that from the apples the longer it sits on the sides of the apples there. You can already see it happening. Oh, it smells so good. Yeah, you can already see the juices starting to pull out from the apples with that sugar mixture on it. So cool. All right, we're getting there. Now we are gonna cut up 4 tablespoons of butter, and that's just gonna go on the top of the mixture once we put it on the pie crust for some added flavor. 1, 2, 3, 4. I might just cut those in like an 1/8 actually, and just spread it out a little bit more over the pie. There we go. Just set this aside. Wrap this up for another time. It's been about an hour. I pulled out our pie crust from the refrigerator. It's been cooling. I'm just gonna open them up, and you can see the butter, the chunks of butter in here. You see all that? Those chunks. Those are going to melt as the pie heats up and bakes and just be so yummy and flaky. I'll probably take the bigger one, which they look about the same size, but this one looks maybe a little bit bigger, and I'll use that one for the bottom. Got my pie crust here, set that off to the side. And then I'm just gonna throw a little bit of flour on the countertop here. And we will roll this out. It's gonna seem a little bit dry, but that's kind of the effect that I like to go for, because it's just, you know, the butter, like I said, it hasn't melted yet. And you want that to happen as it's baking. All right, I'm gonna get my roll pin. Just roll it out enough so that it will cover the bottom of the pie crust. then I kind of just push it back together as it splits apart. That's what my Nonnie used to do, so that's what I do. Out of the way. Yeah, it might be big enough. See if that'll work. Oh yeah, that'll work. Great. And then we'll just kind of push the pieces together there. If there's extra on one side, I usually put it to another side that doesn't have any. So I'm just pinching the top bits there. So all that extra, I'm gonna rip off and then put right here. Okay, see all that juice? It's just been sitting here and it created its own kind of syrupy sauce. We'll give it another stir. Oh, this looks so good, you guys. And then we will pour it right in. Hopefully my Nonnie would be proud. There we go. It looks wonderful. Wonderful. Kind of get that sauce there all the way around equally. All right, so we're gonna set this aside and roll out the other part of our dough. Get a little bit more flour on there. And I kind of squish it first and then roll it out. I usually get a little bit of flour on both sides just so that it doesn't stick to the pin, or you could just take the flour and rub it on the pin. I realize I'm talking to a lot of people on here that have been making pies for a lot longer than I have, so don't think I'm trying to teach you anything. I'm just telling you what I do. Sure, you guys could teach me a lot more than I could teach you. Now this one doesn't have to be as big just because you're not having to come up on the sides of the pie pan there. So this looks like it might be about right, but I'm gonna go a little bit more. I'm gonna actually take some from this side and patch it up over here and right there. And then I usually just like flip it at this point so it doesn't, and then kind of gather the flour like that so it doesn't stick. They're just all things I learned from my Nonnie and my mom. This looks like it might be a little bit big, but that's okay because then we can pinch up the edges and it'll be nice and crusty on the edges. That fits really good. So I'm gonna take it back off and then we'll put the cubes of butter on. Just kind of place them all around here. Pinch up the sides. And you can do something really like cool and pretty with the edges if you want. But I kind of just like to pinch them because that's what my Nonnie did. It just looked super homemade and rustic, and I just love the looks of it like that. I'm gonna crack an egg and we're gonna egg wash the top of it. First, I'm gonna put a couple of slits in there just so it can have a little bit of breathing room. I usually just do 4 right in the middle. There we go. It's pretty good. Then I'm just gonna egg wash the top of it. This will just give it a really nice, beautiful, kind of glossy color. Last step is I'm just gonna create a little bit of cinnamon sugar mixture and sprinkle it on top. And I'm literally just gonna eyeball it. So I'll just kind of grab some sugar here and sprinkle some cinnamon in there. And just mix it around just so it's like kind of like that, and we'll just sprinkle it on top. Oh, this looks so yummy and it smells really good. I'm gonna put this in the oven for about 50 minutes, preheated at 400 degrees. I am gonna put a pan underneath just in case it kind of bubbles over. I don't want it going all over my oven. So just put this one under here on the bottom, and then I'll put my pie on the top. We'll close this up and we'll bake it for 50 minutes, and I will probably check it at like 40, 45 and see how it's doing, and we'll see you guys then. What do you think, bud? You just watching us make a pie? You're so snoozy today, huh? Yeah. You're a good boy. He's so cute. He literally just sits there and watches me do everything.
Stepped into every place in town. The city life has really got me down. I got the honky tonk blues. Yeah, the honky tonk blues.
While we are waiting for the pie to be done, I'm gonna get my dehydrator all filled up with my apple slices that I just peeled and sliced, and get this guy going. I'm gonna do the same thing with these. I'm gonna slice them in half, that way I can easily space them out on the tray, like this. These are always a really yummy snack to have, and I don't put lemon juice on them or anything so that they don't brown up. I honestly don't care if they're brown. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, they're already starting to get brown and I don't really care. They taste the same to me, so that's how I do it. And then, yep, you just kind of layer them all out like this. You just layer out each tray like that, and the next one goes on.
I'm gonna tuck my worries underneath my arm and scat right back to my pappy's farm and leave these honky tonk
Like that.
blues. Yeah, those honky tonk blues. Good Lord, I got that honky tonk blues. Good Lord, I got that honky
dehydrator. It's called Presto Dehydro Food Dehydrator. Nate got it for me, gosh, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago for Christmas. But I'm basically just going to put it on fruits at 135. So you go down here, it's super easy to use. Turn the temp up to 135 and push start. And you can put it on a timer if you want, otherwise you can just let the time go. So you could go like this and add, time to it. But I just kind of let it go and keep checking it. It usually takes like 24 hours, I would say, to get them to the consistency that I like them. I'll probably check it tomorrow and see what it feels like. I like them when they're a little bit more crunchier because they're easier to eat. Anyway, we'll let that do its thing and then we'll come back and check it a little bit later. What do you think, buddy? What's that noise? Are you going to be able to eat your food while that's going on? Oh, we should get you some more food, shouldn't we? Should we fill your food up? What is that? I haven't used the dehydrator since before we got him, so he's probably like, what is that thing? What do you think, bud? Here, I'll put some more food in your dish. Nate, does it smell good in here?
It smells so good.
Nate came home for lunch and I just was going to show him this, and look, it's a good thing I put that pan underneath. I didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. Anyway, we got about 10 minutes left. All right, the pie is done. I took it out of the oven. I am just going to give it time to cool completely, and then we will cut into it and have a taste. All right, I am going to cut into this pie. It is completely cool. It's been cooling all day. We just had dinner. And I know some of you will ask what we had for dinner. So we just had meatloaf and some green beans from the garden, some roasted tomatoes from the garden, and what else did we have, Nate? Oh, a spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash from somebody else's garden down the street. Make sure we get all of this crust so I can transfer it real quick. Oh yes, it looks so yummy. Oh, it looks so good. You can see that nice cinnamon and sugar mixture there on the top. And here is the pie. All right, I'm gonna taste it. Nate, do you wanna taste it?
I'm gonna wait a little bit.
Okay. All right, Nate's gonna wait a little bit longer because he wanted to let his dinner settle a little bit. But I can't wait any longer. I'm like a sweets freak. But I also have really bad allergies going on right now, so I have kind of like half sense of taste and half sense of smell. So I'm really hoping that I can taste this, but we'll see. I can taste it. It tastes so good. Nate, this is so good. Oh my goodness. Yummy. Oh my goodness. Oh, my Nonnie made the best pies. This is such a great recipe. I will put the recipe for the pie crust and the filling down on the little description. So if you click the little down arrow, it will do like a drop down box. And I'll list all the different ingredients and how to make it, but it's super, super easy. I think what I'm gonna do is actually go up to the grocery store and get some disposable pie tins and make some pies to freeze, and that way I'll have some for like Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas coming up to take to my family's house, because these are just so yummy. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I don't know, we might pop back on here and let you have Nate taste it too, we'll see. But if not, thank you so much for watching. I just hope that you're having a wonderful morning, day, evening, whatever the time is. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Yeah, I got friends all over town, and I got friends all over the country, from the hills of Tennessee to the Texas heat. If I wake up in the morning and feel that the world is up against me, I'll be counting all my blessings the good Lord gave to me.
Alright, Nate's going for his second piece, so. They don't care. They love you, Natey. What do you think? You obviously like it.
It's good.
Alright, I'll leave you alone.